You know what that sound is? That's Respawn Aimfire's B.A.R.F episode! Welcome to episode 78 of Respawn Aimfire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast. Did not mean to go southern there, but you say the word irreverent weird on accident, you go with it.
That's just your South Carolina coming out of you.
North Carolina, thank you for knowing everything about me, lifelong friend.
I have cousins from South Carolina. I get them confused a lot, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm better than your cousins. So.
This is actually a very valid fact.
Boom, Shaka Khan. We have a lot of shit to talk about, you guys. We're going to talk about new Oculus headset. We're going to talk about Diddy's Conquest. We're going to talk about Sony and crossplay and Spider-Man and all sorts of shit. But we are going to start today. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Chad Michael Linus, obviously. And across the world is...
Holden DePardo. That's me.
DePardoutxDonutsconleche.
Yep, there's a lot of silent letters at the end of
it. It's a headache. Asking to spell that in elementary school, big mistake.
Now you have to spell your name, Holden. Oh, never mind. Just start at the beginning.
Sorry, it's Holden DePardo Donuts con leche. Let's start by talking about PlayStation finally supporting crossplay in a limited fashion, hopefully with more to come.
Yeah, it's like crossplay for one title.
Yes.
Yay.
As a beta, it is a great start.
It is a good start, at least. I want to be positive in this conversation. I think some people have been a little negative about it just being the one game, but I want to be positive about this. This is a step.
Keep it positive.
So you gotta mention the big news there. You mentioned the big news there, which is that Sony has finally assessed their crossplay situation. They've said it was a comprehensive evaluation process, which basically just meant that they were trying to figure out if it was viable because they had changed their systems to not allow crossplay. As we've known from like the past with Epic and things that happened with Epic, they don't have to do anything to support crossplay. It just naturally works that way. But if you prevent it and their systems are organized in a way to prevent it, they had to find out if they could do it, and they could. So. In this case, at least. They're going to try to see this will work with other third-party content as well, outside of Fortnite. We have no idea, though, what those games are.
Nope. So far, right now, we have a beta currently out for Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
It also, they, in the future, will explore cross-platform features for select third-party content. So, obviously, first-party, we won't see other things, but no games named specifically. Although I assume that the guys from Rocket League and all sorts of shit are already knocking down the door saying, hey, hi, we're next. Hi, thank you.
We'll actually talk about that. Some developers have kind of opened up and shared their thoughts. They're one of them, actually. Psychonix? What is it called?
Psyonix.
That's what it was. Something weird like that. Psyonix.
Speaking more on that Fortnite thing, I don't know if I see this in here from your... I don't see this in the notes here. There was another article from Fortnite from Epic Games saying that if you were one of the people who created a second account because of this in the past, like maybe you started on PS4, found out it was locked, you created a second account on Nintendo Switch or Xbox or something like that, they are looking into a way this fall to hopefully in the coming weeks and months to have a way to merge your two accounts, have all of your things kind of unlocked. Oh, you do?
Yeah, in November they're gonna have that in November. They said.
Gotcha. Well, I missed that. So yeah, that's coming soon, which I think is. First of all, that can't be easy to do. If you've ever tried to like merge two email accounts or like your Apple ID or something like that, you
can't merge an Apple
impossible.
What you can do right now, at least they said this is coming in the next few days, but I think at this point that's already happened. That's that you can sign out of your PlayStation account and now use that on the Switch and switch over. You can still do that right now.
Finally.
It's just if you have two separate accounts and you made purchases in both. That's what you have to wait for, is if you want to merge those two accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm honestly surprised they're even saying they're going to support that. I don't think that they had to necessarily, just because it's a big undertaking and it's a big promise to make.
Yeah.
So I really think they should have just waited until they knew it worked for sure. Or maybe they do know it works for sure. They just want to polish it off. I don't know. But I'm very wary of how well that will work. It could be a nightmare potentially. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yes. More as well on that, kind of why this is taking so long. We kind of hit on that earlier with they're figuring out their systems will work with it or not. And kind of to further go into that, their customer support is also part of that. They want to make sure that they can support crossplay issues within their customer support line for the beta, but also want to make sure that in-game messaging is going to work across platforms as well.
Yeah, those are obviously, yes, we saw an Epic's game. There's literally, they can accidentally have systems play together, but there are more business-focused things like, how do we support people communicating across platforms? How do we have customer support for troubleshooting these kind of things?
That's a great point, because the natural part of it is just the players might just be in the same server, but there's so much more on top of that needs to get working too. Layden, I thought this is kind of a humble thing, is that Layden was saying that he's upset this took so long, that this took longer than they expected. I do think it was odd, though, this last part. He says that he's happy they were able to line up announcing their new crossplay kind of stance by being somewhat open to it, and the Fortnite beta, that kind of lining those two things up, and they're happy they could announce them both at the same time. And I'm like, didn't they have to announce them both at the same time? Could they have really done that any other way? I kind of feel like if they just said, hey, this Fortnite beta for crossplay, if they're going to announce that, they immediately have to talk about the crossplay philosophy.
No.
It was a weird thing for me. But developers have come through and started talking about their own thoughts on this. Microsoft started it off. They said very tactfully that they've been doing this already for a while. Basically, they're just happy to see Sony coming on board with this. They didn't quite say it like that, but they were tactfully saying that.
They definitely poked fun a little bit. They were quick on it too. They were quick.
They were quick on it. They poked fun, but not in a disrespectful way.
Right.
They did say at the end, this is a quote from their Twitter, we would love to bring players on PlayStation 4 into our Minecraft ecosystem as well, but have nothing further to share at this time. So basically saying, hey, Sony, we can't wait to work with you. We gave you the finger with the Nintendo ad, but let's actually work together now.
Yep.
And then next up was your guy, Chad, Jeremy Dunham from...
My guy, apparently.
Yeah, well, because you talked about him a second ago.
I mentioned the game Rocket League. Psyonix.
Yes.
Jeremy Dunham.
And he's their best friend.
Yeah, more so than you, because he knows I come from North Carolina.
He says that they don't know what this means for Rocket League, if they'll be able to get it or not. But he says that if you want us to support crossplay, reach out to Sony, which seems to be that this is all up to Sony. Sony's going to decide who has
so
crossplay.
They want you to say, hey, if you want this, tell Sony. That way we can get it. Mm-hmm. Make your voice heard. Vote.
Rocket League
elections are coming up in November for midterms. Vote.
These are the important issues in the elections, Chad. Yep. Rocket League will definitely be one of the crossplay games. It's too big. It's also not like Call of Duty. It's not like a game that's going to attract users to their...
Let's be clear. We will never see crossplay between consoles, especially on this generation or next generation, between things like Call of Duty or The Division. This is purely going to be
smaller experiences
or free-to-play things with microtransactions like Fortnite. We won't see AAA third-party titles like this.
Speaking of big third parties, Activision now commented.
Ooh.
And they said that their players are enjoying crossplay in Hearthstone right now across all these different platforms. And they're going to wait and see how this experiment, they called it an experiment, goes before they do anything.
Now, this is interesting because Hearthstone, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't already exist on consoles? It's just mobile and PC?
Let me look that up, actually. I know it's not on Switch. There's rumors of that, but I don't know if it's on PlayStation or not.
Which I think this might be the first time that they actually mention bringing this to consoles.
No, they didn't mention bringing Hearthstone to consoles. They were just saying, we love crossplay. We're glad Sony's doing this. We love crossplay because look at Hearthstone. Hearthstone has crossplay. It was more like that. It wasn't them saying, we'd love to support crossplay on PS4 with Hearthstone.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of confusing how they worded it. Or even bringing up Hearthstone in this context was kind of strange.
Yeah, fucking idiot Blizzard.
Yeah, they're dumb. They're terrible. Yeah, it is just, not PCs, but Macs as well, and iOS and Android. So no consoles for Hearthstone.
No consoles.
Yeah.
I guess it would be just too hard to, with the timing aspect of that game, it'd be too hard to do it on the console with a controller and not a touch screen or a mouse. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I guess technically I am. I've made a calculator game before.
You're a developer.
Very, very rudimentary.
The last one was Bethesda. Bethesda commented, and they said that they're happy this is all happening. It's important to them. Fallout 76 still won't have crossplay support, and they said for quote a number of reasons.
Obviously,
I think it's the same reason you just mentioned about Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it's too big of a game. They're not going to.
But their card game, I'm sure now they're like, oh, let's see if we can do that.
No, exactly. Yeah.
What's their card game called again?
I don't know. No one's
not Hearthstone. Not Hearthstone, and not the Valve one. That's the name of it. Artifact. Yeah. That's it.
Yep. Well,
man, what a cool little development.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Took a little too long, but
it did. But they were open about it. They said, "Hey, we know it took too long." So
yeah, I also kind of wish that like they would have acknowledged that months ago instead of bringing out those two bullshit press statements they did. Like, oh, we believe we're the best system to play on, and we want to make sure that our kids are safe on PlayStation consoles. Like, those were bullshit. Just fucking say you were working on it.
I just feel like it's nice to see that it's heading in a good direction. It's happening, at least. They're listening.
It's happening!
I think that in terms of the long wait, they had to say something in the press just to say something, because they didn't know it was going to be feasible. So they were going to say things like, we need to make sure it works well with our business model, because their business model is not supporting crossplay. So they need to make sure that they could strip that stuff and still have their functioning system. So I get it. It is crummy, but it's better-ish.
Crummy. What a inoffensive word. Crummy. I'm going to start using that.
It's a great word. I love
You've
crummy.
got a really crummy asshole.
Who would have crumbs in their asshole? That's what I want to know.
Well, you know,
gross.
When your asshole is clean... We're going to move on. Holden, that's a game that neither of us actually ever probably will play, Fortnite.
Nope, I played it
let's talk
one
about
round
games that
and then
we
stopped.
do play. Holden, what did you play this week? What does Playtime with Holden look like?
Well, I played Donkey Kong Country 2 for
Oh
B.A.R.F.
my god, that's our B.A.R.F. this month!
But we'll talk about that later on. And then I played one level of something else, because that's all I had time for.
One level. Okay.
So I saw that Thumper was available for Oculus Go.
Oh, go on.
I have it on PS4, but I've played it on Chad's PS4 in PSVR, and that game is way better in VR.
So much better.
When I saw it was $10, I'm like, I'm just going to get it. Why not? And it actually works really well on the Oculus Go.
What do you use to control that little clicker?
Yeah, use the little clicker. So you use the trigger to hit the normal, like, kind of glowing notes.
Yep.
You hold that down to get the little needles that go across the track.
Yep.
And then you hold that down and then push down on the touch surface left or right when you do those turns.
Great. You already lost me, but I don't care. I'm sure it's great.
It works perfectly well. I'm perfectly fine. I liked it a lot. It doesn't look as good as I remember it looking in PSVR, which doesn't surprise me because this is running off of a mobile processor as opposed to a PlayStation.
Sure.
So I'm not surprised there. But it plays really well. It runs really smoothly. It looks great. I was surprised. I played one level of it. I'll play some more of it at some point whenever I have time with school.
I'm conflicted on whether to ask you this question now or later in the podcast.
Why?
How is your experience with Oculus Go now, several months later?
Let's talk about that closer to Oculus Quest.
Thank
when we get there. But what have you been playing, Chad? Because that's it. That's all I got.
Holden, I played also Donkey Kong Country 2. What? That's our B.A.R.F. this month. And your boy just beat. If you follow me on any social media, you know that I play Spider-Man every single day, and apparently that's all I do all day is take pictures of Spider-Man. I am Peter Parker. I beat it. I beat Spider-Man. I platinumed Spider-Man, and now I am fucking frothing at the mouth for the DLC coming in a few weeks.
And then just whatever the next Marvel game is. You're going to get that immediately.
I've talked about Spider-Man for the last 2 episodes, so I'm not going to go too much more into it. But of course, now I've finished the story, and I just wanted to say that not only does this game have fucking perfect mechanics as far as web swinging and collectibles and all of that stuff that we've talked about at length, but it also has incredibly great characters and voice acting. The facial animations are unlike anything I've ever seen, and you're watching these things, you're like, I totally buy that Aunt May feels the way she feels. I totally buy all of Peter's emotions. Like, it's wonderful. It's fantastic. Excellent job, Insomniac Games. And I also love that nearly every single villain in this entire game gets a backstory, gets fleshed out, has believable and relatable motivations as well. It's excellent. If you have a PlayStation 4 and you don't own Spider-Man, you're fucking messing up. That's you, Holden. You fall into that camp.
Well, that game sounds terrible. Let's move on to the news now.
Moving on, let's open up our quest log and find out what the internet has provided us. I actually do want to play
Spider-Man now that you've given it all that praise, by the way.
You absolutely should.
I do. I don't know when I'm going to have time to, because there's so much stuff coming out in the fall.
You know what? Just fuck Fallout 76.
No, I really want to play that, but I might put that to the side for Hitman.
I promise you, Spider-Man will have a better Metacritic than Fallout 76.
Oh, I'm sure it will, because it's an online-only game, and there's going to be some disaster with that, I'm sure. I'm certain that's going to happen.
Buggy as fuck.
But the concept's so amazing. But I would take Hitman before I take Fallout 76.
Okay, well, guess what you can do in the next month while you're waiting for Hitman?
Well, I have other things I need to do too, Chad.
School's not important. You're already past school age, which means you already have the knowledge you need.
It's right. I'm done. That's it. Once you reach 18, or I should say 22, then you're done learning. No more learning for the rest of your life. You don't need to
learn anymore.
Unless nothing will happen in the next 60 years of your life anyway, so why do you learn anything?
Okay, first of all, you are being very generous with yourself if you're going to think you're going to live another 60 years.
Well, I'm just saying, with all the advanced technology that's going to come out, age reversal. With age reversal, I'll still probably make it to at least 80.
No. In 2021, we're going to have some nuclear disaster, and everyone's going to have, like, a 40-year lifespan.
Oh, that's what you're getting to. I thought you were saying, I'm so unhealthy, I won't make it that long.
No, that would have been super rude. Look at the way you eat and live. You're not going to live to 80.
Well, I mean, if you could say that you could, because you are in way better shape than I am.
CrossFit!
Yep.
Dude, I did a bro sesh this morning, which we call in CrossFit, whenever you just be like, I'm just going to do bicep curls and things like that. We call that a bro sesh, and rather than like full body functional movements.
I love you guys embrace it by calling it a bro sesh. You know exactly what it is.
You go in there, you just do the douchebag things, and you do it for the glory muscles.
How much grunting do you do? Do you have to do a lot of grunting?
No grunting.
Do you have to like drop your weight?
Unless you're doing something. No. You're only allowed to grunt if you are lifting huge amounts of weight and actually doing CrossFit. And then you have to grunt. It's required, and you have to take your shirt off.
And when you're done, you have to take your water bottle and just pour it all over yourself to cool down, right?
Okay, no. Someone else has to get up and pour it on you because you're laying on the floor covered in chalk.
That's okay. See, I don't work out. Well, I'm starting to, but it's like not what you're doing at all. I'm like on elliptical for 20 minutes and like, oh my god.
That's where you start.
That is it.
That's where you start.
But I'm not stopping.
I used to just go for like 10-minute runs because that's all I fucking knew how to do. It was like, I don't know how to do anything else, but I know how to move my legs.
I'm just, right now it's about building the habit of going because I keep starting and then stopping.
Yes.
And I'm like, I need to just power through. Like I woke up at 8:30 in the morning and it's just like, you're getting up, Holden. You're doing it. You're going to wake up right now to go to the gym. And you're like, I don't want to do it. And you have to tell yourself, no, do it. And then I did it.
And even if you're like, I can only really work out for like 10 to 15 minutes, well, fucking being there is just as important as doing the work.
Yeah. I can't speak from a point of giving advice yet, so...
But also, don't go every single day right off the bat. Like, start small. No, don't uproot your entire life schedule.
I'm doing weekdays for right now, and then I'm skipping Wednesdays just because it's a crazy day with school.
I was about to say, 5 days a week, just starting out, you're going to burn out.
No. I'm doing 2 days, like Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm doing Thursday, Friday.
Good for you, bruv.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. That was a lot of not video game related talk.
Well, I mean, like, if our life is a video game and we're playing it one way, you're playing it the other, it's a point-and-click adventure.
I'd say life is less like a video game. It's more like a highway that I want to ride all night long.
I think it's more like a box of chocolates. And in that box of chocolates, we have Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us, and Metroid Prime 4.
Great segue. That was awesome. Yeah, so Cyberpunk 2077 apparently is coming out in 2019. I love this because of the source of where it comes from is a Turkish publisher named Bilkom.
I'm sorry, what?
His name is Bilkom. Bilkom. And he's just basically said he's excited about Cyberpunk 2077 coming in 2019. And apparently he wasn't supposed to say that. No one in America knows who this person is, but in Turkey, he's huge. It would be like Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, saying, oh man, I can't wait for, Battlefield, whatever, to come out next year. Like, it'd be that level. Not necessarily that big, but like he's a big figure in the Turkey publishing industry for video games. So, interesting. I don't think 2019 is going to happen.
I don't think so either. I was going to say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But the optimistic side of me is saying, what company would show off 50 minutes of gameplay of a game and then say, okay, wait 2 years? That does seem a little strange.
But CD Projekt Red?
Exactly. So we'll see. Is it feasible? I don't know what the progress is in the game, so I don't really know. But based on the things we've been hearing, 2020 sounds more feasible. But apparently that's not the only game coming in 2019.
What?
Last of Us Part 2 is apparently also coming in 2019. I think this one's far more feasible.
Well, I'll be danged.
And the source is none other than PlayStation Music. So PlayStation Music uploaded some songs from the game, and they mentioned in the description for the songs a 2019 release date.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty bad. That's practically borderline not rumor at that point. It might just be someone doesn't know what they were talking about, and they made a little oopsies, but...
That's like, it's not quite as bad as like when they upload a PlayStation Store listing too early or something like that. But that's still pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And 2019 makes a ton of sense. They usually release a game every 2 or 3 years or so. And Uncharted 4 came out early 2016. So it's feasible.
Speaking of PlayStation Music releasing those songs, it was Outbreak Day a couple of days ago, which was, like the Last of Us celebration day every year. So there's a lot of free, cool digital swag, like themes and avatars and shit like that on PlayStation Network. So go get it.
Ooh, fun stuff. Speaking of swag, some swag of Reggie Fils-Aimé has people thinking that the Game Awards...
Phil's Amy?
Fils-Aimé.
You're right.
It's Fils-Aimé. Did I say Phil's Amy?
No, I was being stupid. Keep going.
Okay. I thought you were correcting me for a second. I'm like,
I was being a goddamn idiot.
Well, because you are an idiot, Chad. Moving on.
Obviously, I wore green socks with blue clothes the other day.
That's not stupid. You're just trendy. No. So, Reggie Fils-Aimé was wearing some Metroid Prime swag in a photo with Jeff Keighley talking about the Game Awards. So people are saying, oh my gosh, this means that Metroid Prime is coming to the Game Awards. And normally I'd say, that's stupid, it's just a t-shirt. But there is kind of a precedent of video game executives teasing games with t-shirts. That's definitely happened.
Battletoads, Medieval,
Crash
Bandicoot.
I mean, these have all been PlayStation stuff, but I think even Nintendo's done it. I don't have any examples, but I mean, like Shigeru Miyamoto wears a lot of Nintendo-themed shirts around a lot. He will Reggie Fils-Aimé will wear like Metroid pins and stuff. We
this year at the Game Awards. First of all, they've had some pretty big announcements the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
We have to either see a trailer for Metroid Prime or Bayonetta 3. One of those two has to be at Game Awards.
I would agree. And I think that Metroid Prime is the one that would make a bigger statement at the Game Awards.
I think so too, especially because they did all 3 Bayonetta announcements last year at Game Awards.
Yeah, exactly. And they've used the Game Awards to highlight big games. Breath of the Wild was at the Game Awards twice before it came out, I think. Or was
twice before it won everything.
So they've used that platform for big games. And I would consider Metroid Prime, in Nintendo's eyes, to be a similar caliber game in terms of just legacy of franchise.
This might be the first Metroid Prime that legit sells gangbusters.
Well, I think the first Metroid Prime did in comparison to the other games, but I think you're right that this is really going to knock the socks off the franchise.
Sell on the levels of Mario and Zelda and shit like that.
I hope so, because it's been their most inconsistent franchise, not in quality, but there have been some quality issues with Other M, just it's always, is this the last Metroid game? We haven't seen one in a decade. I really want that to be a franchise that has regular cadence to it.
Yeah,
it'd be nice.
Regular, like Jamie Lee Curtis's yogurt.
Exactly what I was thinking of. Well, there are some
just
things.
A regular guy, Harry.
There are some things we know are coming out in 2019. So let's go to some official news.
Ooh, something like Minecraft Dungeons?
You're right. Are you excited? I'm not either.
I don't know what it is. I just read what you wrote in the note.
Oh, okay. I'm not excited about it.
It sounds like maybe an RPG type element.
It's a dungeon crawler. It sounds like it's like a Diablo style dungeon crawler, but with Minecraft.
Well, if I were ever to get into Minecraft, that would be the part of it I would do.
Oh no, it's a separate game.
I know. I mean, that Minecraft universe, because I'm not going to do Minecraft story mode. I'm not going to do the Netflix thing.
Nope, not at all.
Apparently, neither is Telltale.
Although, do you know what apparently this is a rumor as of today, one of the interactive videos they're going to have on Netflix is an episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, yes! I saw that.
That sounds great. I'd love to see what they do with that. Moving on, the Fallout 76 beta begins on October 23rd, but that's only going to be for the Xbox One. It'll be beta for everything else on October 30th.
Was it an open or a closed beta? Like, is it open just to people who did pre-orders? Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to pre-order the game. Which is fair.
You can't just be like, I want to play, like Destiny or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I totally support that you have to pre-order to be in the beta. That makes complete sense to me.
I agree. Also, this next one, I was like, what the fuck is R2-D2 install? It's not R2-D2, it's RDR2. Red Dead Redemption 2 has an install size of 105 gigabytes, making it literally the biggest game of the generation.
That's insane. The next biggest one I can think of is Destiny 2, which was 80 gigs when I downloaded that.
Well, that's also gotten a ton of content since.
But that's the game. If you were to buy it new, it's 80 gigs.
Well, you can't fit 80 gigs on a Blu-ray disc. You would have to download. Sorry, when you said buy it, I pictured go to store, buy a disc, and you said 80 gigs on the disc. Sorry.
No.
Stupid antiquated brain.
I don't buy physical copies.
I'm a goddamn idiot.
But yeah, that Red Dead Redemption 2 install is ridiculous. That game has to be massive.
Have you seen the dead deer on the back of the horse's ass? Have you seen the light shafts? Oh my god. That game is going to be beautiful. Speaking of, do you have on here the new trailer they released today or yesterday?
I haven't seen it, no.
You haven't seen it? Mm-mm. They released a new gameplay trailer that talks about, like, all the shit you can do, the Deadeye system, but then they're also like, you can rob a train, or you can decide that you want to become a loan shark, or you can decide that you want to fucking, I don't know, whatever the hell you want to do. And I'm like, god damn it, I might actually get this game this fall.
Yeah, I'm like, when you were saying, but hold Fallout 76 not for like another few months now. Like, yeah, but then there's Red Dead. I want to play that. That's this month.
Yeah, but it's the end of this month ish.
But I feel like if I play that game, it'll be really hard to get out of it. I don't know. I've never really
Spider-Man
gotten
in basically a week and a half. So
yeah, this is going to be longer than that, I think.
A couple of like 8 hours straight. And you could actually probably beat Spider-Man in like 15 to 20 hours, but it took me like 35 because I took so many photos. 336 photos.
Oh my god. I don't even have
every one of them.
I do. I have more. This is crazy. You have sent me more photos and PlayStation messages of just Spider-Man than I have in my entire photo library of my personal memories. Because I never take photos. You take that many more photos than me.
I took that many more photos of Spider-Man than you take of anything you love.
Moving on. Are you excited about this one, Chad? This next story?
I'm conflicted because we're definitely going to play this, spoilers, before this game comes out. Mm-hmm. But I was always like, so Castlevania Requiem was announced as a PS4 exclusive containing both Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, coming on October 26th of this year. We'll mention this again later, but that is our B.A.R.F of October. Symphony of the Night is. And I'll be playing it on the go on my Vita. So I'm kind of excited because I've actually never played a Castlevania game except for like the first 2 hours of like the 3D one that came out on PlayStation 3 that did not get reviewed well. So I'm excited to actually have a chance to play this game. And I was thinking to myself, like, do I wait till October 26th so I can have trophies when I beat this game as well? And I was like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm probably not going to get the platinum. Anyway, yes, I'm excited that it exists and that it's coming. This is the only way you can play it on PlayStation 4, whereas you've been able to play it on Xbox One with backwards compatibility. You can play it on some kind of, I don't know, your mom's butt. But,
yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited that it's here. It does have some upgraded 4K visuals and stuff like that, so
exciting. What's not exciting is probably what Nintendo is how Nintendo's feeling about Dragalia's Lost, their the launch. That's a weird name. I have a hard time with that name. Dragalia Lost.
Dragalia Lost.
It's a weird name. So it had their weakest launch for any of their mobile games. It made $3 million in 5 days, which is good for a mobile game. but the next closest one for them was Animal Crossing Pocket Camp with 4.6, and I think it was like their highest was 13 million in the first few days for Fire Emblem Heroes. But it's also a new franchise. This is an existing franchise.
Yeah, not an existing IP.
So I don't think they're looking at it as a bad thing, but it definitely doesn't look good because it's not the best.
I'm also like, just looking at the game, I can't get behind the chibi art style. I don't want even to download it or like look at screenshots. I just like, I look at it, I'm like, oh, get this away from me.
Yeah, I kind of saw it too, and I went, oh, this looks like a shitty mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if this was made by Nintendo, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
It doesn't look like a Nintendo game to me. I don't know, it's very strange. But what Nintendo must be happy about, according to this very specific Japanese retailer, is claiming that the Nintendo Online prepaid cards for 3 months and 12 months are selling extremely well. This is the only indication we've gotten on how Nintendo Online has been selling. And they say that the cards sell super well, and they primarily sell the 12-month card over the 3-month
I mean, card. Of course.
Because people want to play Smash Bros.
No one's happy about buying it, but everyone's like, it's $20.
Yep.
Of course it's selling well.
So, yeah, not surprised either, but the head of the retailer basically said it's because of Smash Bros. That they're selling the 12-month version. People really want to play Smash Bros. Online. They're going to get the $20 now so they can get Smash Bros. And just start playing online immediately.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be
normal. It's
really good. Now, one thing that Nintendo Online does not do is include free games every single month that are current, which PlayStation does.
Okay, there you go. I was like, wait a minute, they kind of do.
That are current,
that are current. There you go.
But PlayStation does. In October, PlayStation is offering Friday the 13th game, the video game, which I want to play.
The game. So here's a sad thing about this game.
No, it's not sad. It's awesome.
No
shit. Shut up.
Everyone who plays it loves it. It's that like 7 versus 1, like 7 campers versus 1
something
Jason,
like that. Yeah,
and you guys have to like either work together or fucking betray everyone and find a way out of the camp before Jason kills you.
Mm-hmm.
But a few months ago, Friday the 13th, the game announced that, hey, all of our planned content, all of our planned updates to the game are no longer happening because the rights to the license of Friday the 13th, the game, are currently tied up in court because of some guy who like claims that he owns them, blah, 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 blah. And regardless of the outcome, whether or not they continue to retain the rights to the game, and sorry, the game is caught up in that along with the movie rights and all that kind of stuff. But they can't develop any more content for it. They're at a standstill, and they're like, well, we can't just sit here not developing anything, or developing something that we might never be able to legally release, so we're just going to stop support for that game entirely. Which kind of sucks.
That's dumb.
But it's cool that we get it for free, and it's cool that they're... whatever deal that PlayStation Plus games get from PlayStation, like, it's cool that they're getting that money for the game to use whatever the next project is that they're working on.
Yeah. They also have coming October on PlayStation Plus Laser League, Master Reboot, The Bridge, Rocket Birds 2 Evolution, and 2064 Read Only Memories.
So I'm going to go through this list, and off the top of my head, I'm just going to tell you what these are. Laser League is a mobile ripoff of Rocket League, and they're hoping you get the two names confused.
Is that what it really is?
No, I'm just guessing.
Oh.
I don't know any of these games. Master Reboot is actually Master Chief, but you play as a shoe.
I think that is what it is.
That's exactly it. The Bridge is a bridge constructor game where you play with Portal people. Rocket Birds 2 Evolution is Angry Birds, except for every time you shoot a bird, the bird explodes. And 2064 Read Only Memories is Mega Man in disguise. It's actually just Mega Man.
I don't know how they got around that copyright, but they did.
Well, they didn't actually say the words Mega Man.
So they just kept the code. As
also,
long as
his
it's
eyes
not
are
the same
blue
label.
instead of black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally different game.
That is the end of our fetch quests. Welcome to the real quests. This is our quest log. We're going to talk about stuff that's a little bit more important or significant or that we feel like we can talk more about. Quest log.
Number 1.
Woo!
PSX is not happening this year.
Oh, man. This would have been year 4 or 5 of the PlayStation Experience, which usually happens after the Game Awards in December. And is a fan-focused event the first few years, they had like an actual press conference with announcements and shit like that. That's where Last of Us 2 was announced. That's where Uncharted Lost Legacy was announced. And last year, there was a lukewarm reception to their new like interview style of things that already existed. And then this year, Sean Layden took to the PlayStation blog to say that PlayStation Experience is not happening this year. They thought that they had not enough content. After now that Spider-Man is released, everything that they're looking at with Days Gone and Death Stranding and things like that are all kind of 2019, and they didn't feel like they would have enough content to support a PlayStation Experience. And I'm actually kind of in support of that decision. Because I wouldn't want everyone was kind of let down over last year's, and I wouldn't want another repeat of that, or with even fewer announcements.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's this pressure on companies to have to say something every single year. But what ends up happening is sometimes you don't have the output that you had the previous year that was incredible.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it comes in waves. Like the output's really strong, and then it kind of goes back because you're working on things a little bit in the background.
Exactly.
And I'd rather them say, hey, we actually have some stuff to show off. You should be excited. Rather than, hey guys, we're just doing this every year. And it might be exciting, it might not be. You're gonna find out when it happens. So it kind of to me says if they're doing this event, it's gonna mean something.
Yep.
So totally love the transparency around that. I thought Game Rant had an article about this trying to explain their reasoning why they think they didn't do it. And it's like the worst reason I've ever heard. They said they think that they aren't doing PSX because they need to focus on the PS5.
Yeah, I've seen some dumb rumors that are like, they're not doing it because, they're going to do another February hardware announcement. It's like, fucking no, they're not.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. Like, before PlayStation 4 came out, it was so obvious they were releasing a PlayStation 4. Like, there was so much fire. It was ridiculous. That's not the case right now. Like, we have some smoke. We don't have fire, though.
There are two things, both involving Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. The first one, the theory as to why they are not having PSX is because last year on stage, Greg asked, Sean, why can't we change our names? And he said, well, some things are in motion so that hopefully by the time PSX comes around next time, you won't have to ask me that question again. So they didn't have it figured out, so they canceled PSX, so he wouldn't be wrong.
That's really funny. I love that.
I've seen that going around the internet, and it's pretty brilliant.
That is the best rumor yet.
Clearly
not the case, but that's really funny.
No. Next up, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, actually immediately after the news, he tweeted this out. Sean Layden has confirmed on the PlayStation blogcast that there's no PSX this year. So, Kind of Funny will fill the void and hold a press conference for the Saturday after the Game Awards. Devs/publishers, you want to be part of the Kind of Funny Game Showcase 12/8? Hit me up. And then he replied to that same tweet, I'm serious. So that's going to be kind of cool, and I actually listened to the episode of Games Daily where they were like on the spot, be like, should we fucking do this? Should we call these people? Should we make this happen? What if it's just like a stupid ass, like, after the Game Awards on Saturday, stay tuned for an extended look at blah, blah, blah. And apparently they've had a shit ton of interest in it.
Interesting.
So there will be another event on Saturday. It's going to be just a video with them in front of green screen. No, like, actual press there or anything like that. It's just going to be a video they put out where there's going to be a ton of developers from indies to maybe even AAAs revealing more stuff.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and apparently it's just going to be a stupid, fun time where they're all going to wear suits and pretend to be professional, but also act like the hooligans they are.
I wonder, like, if they would get... could they get Days Gone or something like that? That'd be really funny. Like, the developers of Days Gone are at what is it? Ready Dawn? No. What's Sony Bend? At Sony Bend are like really wanting to show off more Days Gone. And Sony's like, no, we're not going to do PSX just for you guys.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They must want to be there.
Something. I mean, they've recently had spoiler casts with Brian Intihar and Corey Balrog for Spider-Man and God of War. They've had Shuhei Yoshida as a guest on there multiple times. They had The Rock do a video for their Kind of Funny live thing that they did 2 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled some big stuff. Yeah, no, they have big connections. Especially Greg Miller. I think that's going to be fun. Yep. So stay tuned on the Saturday after Game Awards. So Sony got rid of an event, but Xbox added a new one. Kind of. It's an event. Well, the event apparently already existed. They are just now capitalizing on its existence. Yes, so they're making it more of an official thing. Right.
So it was called Xbox Fan Fest. It takes place in Mexico City. Now it's going to be called just XO18.
That's actually it's a Roman numeral. It's pronounced 1018.
I'm assuming it means Xbox One 2018 or something like that.
No, it means...
What does it mean?
The Roman numeral 10, E18. Keep going.
Oh, Chad. So it's going to be 2 hours long. They're going to have announcements from first and third-party developers, is what they have said. So I'm assuming we'll see Crackdown 3.
It's not a press conference. This is kind of like the kind of funny thing we were just talking about. It's not going to be a press conference. It's just going to be their regular Inside Xbox, except for a little bit longer and a little bit higher caliber.
Well, a little bit longer. This is an hour and a half longer. They're usually about a half hour long.
Are they only half an hour?
I thought they were about a half hour, I thought.
I don't know. I don't ever watch them. I just read the article afterwards where they're like, oh, they added keyboards.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they can't be that long. Anyway, did you talk about keyboards and shit?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they're adding mouse and keyboard support to Xbox, so...
Yes. Didn't we already mention it last week? Or did we not?
I don't know. No, that was part of the last Inside Xbox. I don't know. I don't remember fucking anything anymore. I'm a goddamn idiot.
See, I thought you had more to say about the Xbox fan event. I don't really have much to say about it.
No, I do think that it's interesting that they're like taking this already fan event and then just kind of like, hey, maybe we'll have a PSX, but we'll call it an XXX.
Well, it seems like, because it is very similar to their Inside Xbox events, they're kind of taking a note from Nintendo in that sense, kind of having a regular, kind of small little direct communication with their fans, and they're going to occasionally have a big tentpole one, just like Nintendo has big tentpole ones in January, September, and of E3, of course.
Yeah.
So, interesting. But, surprise news for today.
Yeah.
Just random story.
Yes!
Literally, this happened...
What is that from?
Yes! I don't know.
What is that from?
I have no idea.
God damn it.
This has happened gotta be like a few hours before we recorded. Like, really just made it in the last minute, or last few hours.
Yeah, I was walking back from the Home Depot, playing my Pokemon Go, and I see a little text message from you come on my screen.
Mm-hmm. It's Google's streaming service. It's actually real. It's called Project Stream. And it's gonna let...
What?
It's going to let Chrome users play full games in the browser. Right now, they're just opening up for a testing just to see if it works properly or to get feedback. And they're going to let you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey for free as long as you sign up and get approved.
Cool. Apparently, that gameplay starts like in the next week. Although we both registered, and my email definitely says look for an email in the coming weeks as to whether or not. Yep. But according to the article I read, that they're starting testing of that like this week.
Oh, cool.
And that will continue through January, is what the email said, or the website said.
Yeah, so it's cool. You have to be 17 years old, which makes sense because it's a rated M game they're going to give you, and you have to have a 25 megabit per second internet connection.
That's going to rule you out.
Definitely going to rule me out. But I signed up anyway. I think it's cool they finally have admitted it and talked about it. They really didn't mention much. It's really just that they're working on this and they're doing the test.
I think it's cool that they've gotten a partnership with Ubisoft, though.
Yeah, I think it's also a sensible partner because they've been very open about cloud gaming. They just did Assassin's Creed Odyssey in Japan on Switch. So, and they've also mentioned, is it Guillemot? Yeah, their CEO Guillemot.
Guillermo del Toro? Or is Guillermo?
Guillemot. He was talking, he's been very open and vocal about this streaming-only console future and that eventually it's going to go there. He said that the next generation of consoles is the last generation of consoles. So it makes sense that he'd be someone that's partnering with Google on this.
Yeah. That's also what they've said for the last 20 years, though, too. So
yeah. What do you mean the last 20 years?
The next generation of consoles is the last generation of consoles.
Actually, Guillemot's been very consistent about this. He said the last generation, he said there are 2 more console generations, and then it's done. It'll be all streaming. So he's been very consistent.
I read his diary.
I stole it, too, and read it. There's no word on what Google is necessarily planning to do. Are they going to want to offer their own exclusive games for their service? Or is it just going to be like a store like Steam, but for streaming games only? We have no idea. They're just testing the technology. So they could really be doing anything with it at this point. They could still be working on a gaming box that connects to your television. They could be doing that. I don't know. This is all very vague still.
It could also be exactly like they sent a bunch of people Google Glass and then just swept that under the rug.
Exactly. Or with any number of things. Google Buzz. It was a very cool one they got rid of.
I don't even know what that is.
It was like real-time typing over the internet. It was cool.
I'm sorry, what?
So, like, if you were if you were communicating with someone, you only see the little bubble that says, "Oh, they're typing." You would actually just see what they are typing in real time.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I understand real-time typing sounds really lame. Like,
yeah.
Because usually when I type, it takes like a day before it shows up.
Yeah. All right. Glad that one got swept under the rug. Well, that brings us to the end of our quest log and into our main quest. This is a quest, the one that's most important. Main quest! Main quest tractor! Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants. Ha 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 ha. You guys, I'm on cocaine right now. Just kidding. Cocaine is stupid. If you're doing cocaine, you should stop it and seek help.
Yes, cocaine's not good for you. What is good for you? Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out.
No one knows
spring 2019.
Yet, but maybe Oculus Quest.
Maybe.
We said that at the same time. Jinx, you owe me a blowgie.
No, I'm not doing that. I'll get you soda, but I'm not doing that.
I meant emoji. Get your head out of the gutter.
No, I know what you meant. I won't send emojis. I won't do it. I don't do that, Chad. I don't send emojis.
Shut up. What is Oculus Quest?
So, well, first of all, I need to just do a little disclaimer here about my profession in case people don't know what I do for work. Profession, it's a part-time job.
I was about to say, yeah. You call it a profession?
So I'm a brand ambassador for Oculus. I know they've not told me anything about Oculus Quest. Everything I've heard about this product is from the news and the website. I know nothing about it official. These are my opinions, yada, yada, yada. I don't speak on behalf of Facebook. Let's move on. So Oculus Quest is basically the prototype Santa Cruz they've been showing off for the past year, which is standalone VR, just like the Oculus Go, but this one has the full motion tracking of an Oculus Rift. So Oculus Go has 3 degrees of freedom of motion, which basically just means you move your neck around. This has full 6 degrees freedom of motion. It has the 2 controllers, so you can reach and grab objects, and it's capable of, quote, Rift quality experiences. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So here are kind of the quick little specs they've mentioned. For starters, it's going to have the 6 degrees of freedom, like I just mentioned. It's going to have a resolution of 1600 by 1440p per eye, which is damn good.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Full 360-degree audio, which I'll say that is a really good feature of the Oculus Go, is how well the 360 audio works there, and apparently this has more bass to it. It's going to have 64 gigs of storage.
Ooh.
And it's going to be $400.
Is that storage expandable?
I don't think so, but I'd imagine they're going to have like a 64 and a 128. I don't know officially, but they'd probably have 2 options, just like the Oculus Go.
Because VR games are huge.
Well,
PS4 VR games are huge.
Yeah,
These might be dumbed down. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't think they're going to be that big. So those specs are actually pretty damn good, and I think that price is really solid.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about this being. That's kind of an insane price point.
It is.
But they got that Facebook money.
It is. I think they're losing money on it, to be honest, or at least just making it for cost, or selling it at cost.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. I don't think they're making money off of this. But I want to talk about kind of what their intentions are with this, what Jonathan Carmack has been saying. He's the CTO of Oculus, because he's been pretty open and honest, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this. I want to go through the facts, though, and then we'll talk about our impressions with this. So we mentioned the specs already, but they keep using that term Rift quality when they're talking about games. When they say that, they're not meaning that it's going to look as good as a Rift game. There are some games that'll have in common, like you can play Superhot on both, you can play The Climb on both, you can play Moss on both, you can play Robo Recall on both. It's going to look better on an Oculus Rift because it's powered by a PC. So you have a graphics processor on this. This has a mobile chip inside of it. So It's not going to look as good.
Basically means it's going to be the breadth of the experience that you expect.
Exactly. It's going to be everything but the visuals and how sharp the visuals look. Although the resolution of the screen is actually higher, but that's more for text than it is for the actual gameplay itself.
Real-time text.
Yep, real-time text. So they're using what's called the Insight system, which is 4 ultra-wide-angle sensors and a computer vision algorithm to track the user. That's how they're getting around having external sensors. They built those sensors right into the headset itself. But it also has what's called the Guardian system, so it'll tell you if you're about to walk into things which is kind of cool.
With the Guardian system, that just sounds good.
Isn't that? It sounds great. The touch. So this is confusing for me. They said the touch controllers will be the same as the ones that are included with the Rift. I've been seeing that, but I've been seeing it in the news articles, not in official statements. And those are not the same touch controllers that are with the Rift. They look different, like noticeably different. The little circle on the Oculus Rift controllers, it's kind of on like the bottom of the controller on the Rift, but on this it's like towards the top instead. And I
know that they mentioned that like they will definitely have controllers, I guess, capable of all the same things, but maybe just not the exact same ones.
Yeah, what I think it is the Rift controllers have those circles. That's how it tracks the movement of your hands. There are little sensors built into the controller on that ring that the external sensors look at. But since they're facing downwards and the sensors are on your face on an Oculus Quest, they need that ring to be up higher so that the sensors in your face can see them. So I think that's why they switched the position.
Makes sense.
But one thing I'm curious about, and what I think makes the Oculus Rift really stand out over like a PlayStation VR, is that it tracks your fingers on the controller. So you know if you're hitting the X button or the A button without taking your headset off. I don't see the little gray dot on these touch controllers for the Quest that does that unless it's built into the ring mechanism. But that's a really big part of VR, I think. It's kind of one of those like small details that once you have that, you can't really not have it anymore. Yeah. It feels weird not having it. So they haven't said it's not there. They haven't said anything about it. That's a question that I have. They said they're going to have 50 games at launch, which will include Robo Recall, The Climb, and Moss, as I've already mentioned.
Moss is so good.
I thought that was a PlayStation exclusive.
I think it just launched first on PlayStation.
Yeah. Some outlets are saying different things about launch titles, so it's actually kind of hard to find specific information about that. But Robo Recall and The Climb, I would be surprised. I mean, as a brand ambassador, I do the demos and that kind of stuff for Oculus, and Robo Recall and The Climb are both demos for Oculus Rift. So it's clearly a partnership that Oculus has. In case of Robo Recall, they helped make that game, so it makes sense they're going to bring that to the Quest. Let's talk about what John Carmack was discussing with the Quest.
This is important.
This is very important.
I'm glad that he's like getting out in front of it and saying, "Listen, we're gonna temper your expectations a bit with this."
Yeah, he said these are as powerful as a 360 or PS3, which isn't very powerful at all. And he was very upfront about that.
That had The Last of Us on the PS3, and that looked amazing.
But on a PS3, as he kind of put in here, that it can run at a higher frame rate of 30 frames per second and have all these great graphical details and still run at 720p, or I think in that case it's 1080p, and look great because it doesn't have to go higher than 30 frames per second. But in Oculus Quest, it's going to be running at a higher frame rate, so it's going to be at 1280 is the resolution it's going to be running at versus 720p. It's also going to be... Was that? Yeah, per eye. And 72 frames per second. So it's a lot higher resolution and a lot higher frame rate. So it's not going to look as good as a PS3 or a Xbox 360 game.
Right.
It's just like on the PlayStation VR. When you watch Resident Evil 7 on PlayStation, normally flat screen, really good looking. When you put it into VR, it does not look nearly as good.
Right.
Which is understandable.
I would still say that the VR version looks about like an Xbox 360 PS3 game, though. So take that and then cut it down
a little bit more. Yeah,
like that same ratio to the other ones.
And I think that the Oculus Go is going to is about where the graphics capabilities of the Quest are. I think all the additional processing power in the Quest are going to be for the motion tracking and the controller tracking. So, like playing Thumper in Oculus Go, it definitely did not look as good as it did in PlayStation VR. But it worked, and it worked well enough.
And you assume it's going to play the same on Quest?
I'm assuming. That's just my own speculation, though. I really don't know for sure. So Carmack went deeper into detail on kind of what developers are going to have to do with the Quest to get the most out of it. He said that PC is very forgiving. Like, you can be a really not great developer, but still make a great game because PC has so much headroom with processing power, where it might not run very well, but the extra horsepower will make up for it. Where with mobile, you need to make your code as good as it can possibly be and run as well as it can because it's less forgiving. You don't have that same headroom with processing power. And he said with the Oculus Quest, it's going to be that, but even more so. So you're really going to have to work to get the most out of your games on this device. He said that it's going to be like
the fact that he's saying
developers
this makes me
having
think
to make
that
concessions on
it sounds
the original
as if it's
PlayStation.
Coming from someone who worked on it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sorry, keep going. Yeah, like he used to work for the company, and then now he's no longer there. He's like, hey, by the way, guys, this thing is not actually as good as it sounds.
No, but he's the CTO of Oculus. Like, he's just...
I know, and
like,
that's crazy to me. And I love that he's like setting those expectations correctly.
He said that it's going to be very similar to the original PlayStation and like the DS era of games, where developers really had to be smart and make concessions with what they were making in the game and only focusing on the absolute essential things in the game. Like, what is the most important thing of this game? Cool, let's make that work and not worry about blemishes. It's like, that's the kind of experiences you're going to have on this, what he's saying. Which I don't think is a bad thing necessarily. I think the best VR games that I've played have all been really simple. Super Hot is extremely simple, but it's the best VR experience.
Super Hot's so good.
It's so good.
But also Firewall 0 Hour, y'all.
Mm-hmm. So a few more
unless you are bad at those games like me.
A few more little tidbits. Carmack is a huge player in the industry, which is the only reason he can get away with saying these things. If you thought the things he just said were like bad for Oculus, the next things are surprising. One of these is that he says he dislikes Oculus's marketing because he doesn't like how athletic it shows people. He doesn't like that they're being so active in VR. He goes, people want to lazily sit and just move their thumbs in VR, is what he said. He says it's unrealistic.
That's kind of true. But also, true. The things that I enjoy most are, like, the Super Hot when you're up and you're, like, crouching down.
You're a much more active person than most people are.
Well, even you playing Super Hot, we're all over the place sweating like crazy.
Sure, absolutely. But I also would totally love to play calm, relaxing games. Like, I like Thumper in VR. That's a great game in VR. I can just sit and play that. I don't have to stand and move around for it. What was he saying?
But especially, he's right. The marketing on, like, the Oculus Go, like, that is meant to be a social type thing or, like, a content-consuming type thing. You don't want people jumping up and running around with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, too, is he apparently said that he wanted to put a display on the outside of these headsets to encourage social interaction with the VR headsets, but they haven't done that. So
people can see what you're playing?
Yeah, kind of, but I just can't imagine, like, Oculus Go gets 2.5 hours of battery life. If they put an LED screen on the side of it, that battery life would just plummet.
So that other people can enjoy the same porn you're watching?
So the last thing on this, then we'll get into our own opinions, is the tracking limitation of the Quest. And this is interesting. So, because the sensors are on your face as opposed to externally in front of you, if you do something like move your hand behind your back or turn around, maybe turn your head one way and your hands another way is what I mean. It's going to have a harder time tracking you in those situations. He says that you can do things with software to kind of trick it into predicting where your hands would have gone in a second or two situation where it can't see you. But that's definitely going to be consideration for developers with this.
Yeah, it
makes sense. It's an understandable limitation.
Yeah, one of the cool things that I remember playing on the Oculus is it was a Game of Thrones thing, and part of it was like reaching behind you to pull an arrow out of your quiver so that you can shoot it through the bow, and it's like, oh man, that kind of shit's not going to be possible.
No, I think that's going to be possible. I think that's what he's talking about, where your hand's only gone for a second, because Robo Recall, when you go to pull your shotgun out, it's on your back, so you have to reach over your shoulder to pull out your shotgun. I think he's saying in that case, because the sensor will see where your hand left the field of view of the sensor, and they can predict, that's probably because they're going for the shotgun. If I see their hand come back in the same direction again, I'll know. And then I'll pull the gun out. I wonder how
reliable that's actually going to be, though. Because I was also thinking about like Batman, and in Batman you have your gadgets on your hip, your batarang on your like pelvis. So like depending on where you reach on your hip, that's a different gadget you're picking up.
Well, I think your hip or pelvis will be fine. I think he's talking about things that are
all of the different things that are, well, I don't know. It depends on how wide angle those cameras are.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be too bad because for over-the-shoulder things, because how often in a VR game do you reach over your shoulder outside of that specific thing, reaching for that item?
It depends on the game.
I haven't played many where there's that many gestury things like that.
Even he said, like, if your arms are, like, too wide out to the sides, it won't be able to track. And I've definitely done things where, like, in Super Hot, where I'm reaching side to side, shooting one guy on one way and the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm very interested to see how that ends up working.
Yeah, we'll see. We will find out in spring 2019. So that's all the fact stuff. What are your impressions of what you know of Oculus Quest?
I think that it is super cool, and the fact that it is portable, self-contained, and gaming-focused is my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm super interested in that. What I kind of am hesitant about is that this is people's first experience with VR gaming. And not knowing, like, they see the quality of the experience, like the graphics and things like that they're going to be experiencing, and they're going to think, like, oh, why is everyone so excited about this? It doesn't look good at all. Even I'm interested in what you think about it, because even like PSVR, you're like, I don't know, I just can't get behind that. It doesn't look good enough compared to Oculus or HTC Vive. I'm like, with this being even worse, what are your thoughts on it?
So what I think, I'm looking at it, there's two ways to look at it, I think. Or two ways that I'm looking at it. One is looking at Oculus Quest version 1. And there's other way of looking at it is Oculus Quest, the product line, going forward. As of version 1, yeah, I think there's going to be some hiccups that aren't going to make it as good as a full Rift-like experience. But I think it's going to be good enough for most people. Like, at that price point, that's insane. Like, that's a really good price point for what it's doing. Yeah. And I think that, like, for me, the biggest thing about VR is the hurdle to get into it. And that's buying a PlayStation and buying the PSVR. That's really the cheapest if you want to do full, good 6 degrees of freedom. If you want to go for a PC, you're looking at like $800 for a PC, then $400 for an Oculus Rift. So, like, there's a need for a standalone headset like that. And I think the standalone headset is the only way that VR is really going to be a seller and sell well. And I think this is the product that can do it. Whether or not this is the one that's going to do it itself, like this version of it or not, I don't know. We're going to have to use it and see. But here's why I'm optimistic. $200 for Oculus Go, when I heard that, which is around the same time last year.
Yeah.
I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, I know it's not going to be a full Rift-like experience, but what are these, drawbacks going to be on this? And really, outside of the 3 degrees of freedom, it looks better than an Oculus Rift, which means it looks better than a PSVR. And for me, it's over that point of the screen door effect getting in the way. It's still there. I still see it, but it's not bothersome like it was for me when the screen's was it 1080p single screen for PSVR?
Right.
Yeah. So like it's just too noticeable for me there. And I think that the Oculus Quest also reaches over that as well. But anyway, so the Oculus Go, though, I was really surprised with how good of an experience it was for that price point when I ended up using it in person. And I have enough faith that that's going to be the case here as well. Because I think they're losing money on this. I don't think it actually should cost $400. I think they want to make this a premium device. The Oculus Go feels surprisingly premium for $200. It's not like, a $1,000 product or anything, but it's nice. So I have optimism for that reason. But hearing 360 and PS3 is a little concerning to me. PSVR looks better than that. So either he is underselling it, or it does look that bad. Being subjective.
Yeah, well, 360 PS3 minus.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my question for you. If someone is like, I'm on the fence, should I get this Oculus Quest for $400 or pick up a PSVR and a PlayStation for about $400?
Well, that's the thing. I think if your main goal is VR, I think you should get, depending on if this is like, assuming it's, it's going to meet my expectations like the Oculus Go met my expectations, which is it exceeded them. I think that might be the product to get if your sole goal is VR specifically. If you want a PlayStation and want some VR experiences on the side, you should still get a PlayStation and PlayStation VR, I'd say. If you want a high-end gaming rig with VR experience, like you should still get a PC and an Oculus Rift, I'd say. But if you want a VR gaming experience exclusively because you've liked the stuff that you've seen and you want those kind of experiences, I think this is the product to get. To the point that I'm actually thinking that this is really bad marketing talking about it right now.
So here's my second question for you.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is support of the device from developers as well as the company itself.
Yes.
And that's where it comes back to the question is, what's your experience with Oculus Go now, several months later?
Well, Thumper just came out last week, and that was exciting. That's a pretty big game, I think, to come to Oculus Go. But I'm not using the Oculus Go for gaming stuff, so that's why it's hard to draw that comparison. Because,
but you still see like content and things like that regularly put out for it, whether it's like video content or apps or things like that.
I'm not using it personally as much as I would have wanted, just because, well, time, but also I want to play games, and Oculus Go just released a gaming headset. There are some games in there, but it's not its primary focus. I just go in to use Netflix and pretty much get out of it when I do use it, which is pretty few and far between. But I do know that Facebook is adamant about getting 1 billion people in VR. So I don't really think it's feasible for them to not put a boatload of money behind this to get this stuff working. The fact that they have Jonathan Carmack working for them, like I think he's a big deal being there. This is the guy who, I mean, he worked on Doom. id Software is all him. Like, he's a major player in the industry. So I just feel really confident with the players they have working there, but also the fact that they want to get to 1 billion users in VR means that they're in this for the long game. Even if they don't get initial VR support at first, they're going to release an Oculus Quest 2, and then that will be more powerful, which will make it easier for developers to support it, and onwards it will go. So, yeah, I think that's a valid concern you're bringing up for the first one because of the development challenges that I'm sure you'll see developers facing. But in the long term, I just don't think it's a problem, because I think Facebook is going to do this until it's clear it's not going to work, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, I think you're right about like that first term thing, because I'm just thinking about now, like all of the hurdles and things like that people went through with Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PSVR, learning to develop for those systems and what works well, what doesn't work, how do I code for it, things like that. And now John Carmack coming out and saying, you're going to have to be like super efficient with your code. You're going to have to come up with some clever tricks. There's going to be a learning process for developers after this comes out, months from now anyway. So I think you might be right. The support might not look like it's going to be there the first time, but then it probably with round 2, people are going to have learned what works well, and they're going to come out swinging. Yeah.
So I'm really impressed still. I think that my biggest complaint is just the marketing of this. This is the first year that Oculus Go, their first standalone VR headset, is available to the market, and people really want a standalone gaming VR headset. And people might have gone to the Oculus Go had they not known about Quest. And so the fact that just before the holiday season, you're announcing a new product that's going to convince people to not get an Oculus Go to get that instead just seems like an odd move to me from a business perspective.
I think, speaking of marketing, I guess neither of us are probably the best person for different reasons. I'm wondering, like, I personally have maybe literally seen 0 ads for Oculus Go, and I don't think I've ever even seen it like on a display shelf at a Best Buy or anything like that. And I was like, why is marketing non-existent? But then I was going to ask you, and I was like, oh, well, that's literally your profession, in your words. I'm like, of course you think they're promoting it because that's your job to promote it. Like, I don't know. That's weird.
Well, I'll say
I feel like I haven't seen it.
I can speak to that. So we do. I know they do TV advertisements. It tends to be during sporting events for Oculus Go, because one of the big things with Oculus.
Sure, why I don't watch it.
Exactly. Same with me. I don't see the ads ever because I don't watch sports. But with Oculus Go, you can use an app called Oculus Venues to tune into live games, and that's kind of how they're trying to sell the Oculus Go, is through those kinds of experiences. So I think that might be why we're not seeing those advertisements too much. But I think this is a general marketing problem for VR and just as an industry. Is how do you sell something that's trying to convince you about another virtual experience, another virtual reality? How do you have a television advertisement for that really sells you what it is? It's hard enough to explain it to somebody. So I think their big push with marketing is people like me being in stores, showing it off to people.
Yeah.
Because you have to experience it. And I'll say that I have really only seen 2 or 3 people who have used VR in the store with me that haven't liked it. Everyone else, even like grandmas coming in, have been like, holy shit, that was amazing.
It's my favorite. Like, watching people experience VR for the first time
it's a blast.
One of my favorite things in the world.
Well, like you get to see things like a mom came in with her two kids. Her two kids did the headset, and they're like, "Mom, you got to try it out." And she has the headset on, and there's a moment where a T-Rex is walking up to her, and she just starts screaming in the middle of a Best Buy store, and literally cowering to the floor. And her kids are like, "All right, we're taking the headset off now, Mom. That's enough. You've had enough." And it's just so cool to like see those strong. And
she
reactions.
Goes in a padded cell.
That's
for the
an
rest
extreme.
Of her life.
Yeah, that's an extreme reaction for sure, but it's still kind of cool to see those kind of reactions. So it has a really strong effect on people. You just have to use it. Hearing about it, you can dismiss it too easily. But when you try it, you really can't forget it.
Yeah.
It's very
cool. Tweet at us, tell us if you're going to get one. Or if you stole one already from like a prototype lab, also tweet that at us too. And then you'll probably go to jail.
Yes, you definitely go to jail.
Well, that brings us to the end of our main quest and into our end game. Which I'm trying to hold. This is where we talk about shit with the community. So you guys listening to us, you can participate in this. And oh my gosh, earn points towards a participation award. That's so crazy. So if you tweet at us, if you refer a friend, if you rate our podcast, you get entered into our participation award. We draw it from a raffle at the end of the month. You win $20, just like Tunic_art. No, wait, he's now Drawbean on Twitter. And we also talk about things like our B.A.R.F backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends. And that's what we're going to do right now. Holden, this month was my month to choose, and I said, let's do Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest.
And that's
why did we choose this game? Well, Smash Bros. Unveiled King K. Rool as a playable character. Obviously made me go, I need to go play Donkey Kong right now. I'm nostalgia hardcore, blah, blah, blah. But also, it is one of my favorite platformers of all time. It's one of them that I grew up, that and Super Mario World. Like, that's all my parents play nonstop, so it's definitely what I grew up on. And I wanted you to experience it for the first time as well. So tell us, what's your history with Donkey Kong Country in general?
This is my first one. I played a little bit of Donkey Kong Country on the SNES Classic when I got it, but I got like 3 levels into the game.
All right. So we were popping your blueberry, because I like to be controversial. I'm going to read you guys a little bit of information about Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest. First of all, a lot of people accidentally call it Diddy Kong's Quest instead of Diddy's Kong Quest. It's a pun. Get it? Wordplay. God damn, it's so good. Here's some information. Developed by Rare, published by Nintendo for the SNES. It was first released on November 20th, 1995 in North America, and the 21st in Japan, and December 14th in Europe. It was also re-released on the Game Boy Advance in 2004 under Donkey Kong Land 2, and then re-released on the Virtual Console in 2007 and Wii U Virtual Console in 2015. This game, just like Donkey Kong Country, did some pretty groundbreaking graphical things using the Silicon graphics technology, which took 3D images. They would actually build these worlds and things like that in 3D models, and then use the Silicon graphics technology to render that into a 2D pixel so that it looked 3D, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, your characters are walking on a 2D platform. Diddy's Conquest received critical acclaim, being widely regarded as one of the greatest 2D platformers ever made. Praise was directed at its graphics, gameplay, and soundtrack. It was the second best-selling game of 1995. And it was the 6th best-selling game on the Super Nintendo, and the highest-selling Super Nintendo title to never be packaged with the system. So people just bought that shit by itself. In response to complaints from veteran gamers, the game was also designed to be more challenging than the original Donkey Kong Country. And if you have played Donkey Kong Country 2, you know, yes, there's some hard-as-fuck stuff in this game.
Absolutely.
It received critical acclaim. The SNES version holds an aggregate score of 92% at Game Rankings, whereas the Virtual Console and the Game Boy Advance game hold 80% on Metacritic.
Interesting.
Yeah. It sold a combined 4.37 million copies in the U.S. and Japan. It was also the game that beat it out in 1995 as the best-selling game was Yoshi's Island. So, that's the background on the story, on the game. I wanted to talk about our experience with the game. So, first of all, Holden, you're an adult male who has a profession and you have a school...
Full-time school schedule.
Full-time student schedule.
Yes.
What was your experience with Diddy's Conquest?
Yeah, so just in full disclaimer, I played about like half the game. But I can't wait to play the last half of this game because it is... I'm not surprised to hear it's considered one of the best platformers of all time because it is really good. Outside of a few moments where I thought that kind of the art style you're talking about made it a little hard to tell what I could jump on.
Oh, yeah, sometimes, especially like the leaves in the swamp. Yeah,
the leaves in the swamp, or like there's like a barrel, and I'm like, can I jump in that barrel? I don't know. There's a bee right next to it. It makes it like I can't jump on it, but that didn't happen often enough that it bugged me. Like, I honestly have so little to say that's bad about this game. All of it is so good. It is, the mechanics of it are super solid. Do
you remember what world you left off in?
I was in World 4. I just did the level. It was like the carnival level.
Gotcha. Crazy Crime Land.
Yep. The music though is the highlight for me. Like, as I'd be stuck on the same level.
It's such a good score.
I'd be stuck on the same level over and over and over again. Like, there was one level in the cauldron, like the lava place.
Yeah.
And it's where you're on the balloons, right? You're on the balloons, and you have to like use the little gust of winds to float up.
Oh god.
It was so hard, but it never bothered me replaying it over and over again because I really like the music. And you'd be like, oh no, I have to hear the song again. All right, I'll just stand here for a little bit and listen to this song. They're really catchy songs.
The music is so good in this series. It was actually composed entirely by David Wise. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the things that this music was praised for, or that the game was praised for as well. But yeah, there are so many memorable songs from this thing, and they get stuck in your head. And I immediately... So Tom and I marathon the entire thing start to finish in about 7 hours, nonstop.
Damn.
Didn't even break to eat. And as soon as we started, every single song, I was humming along with it. As soon as Diddy Kong gets to the end of the level, I was like... Like, I could sing everything from memory, even though I haven't played this game in like 10 years. It's fantastic.
So I don't know how you beat the game in 7 hours. I think I think the real reason you beat it is you had Tom helping you out, and you know the game, because there's no way I could have beaten this game. Tom was a
hindrance.
Was it really?
Yeah.
So how does that work when you're playing with two players? Because you can get all right. It's Diddy Kong, and who's the female?
Dixie Kong. This is her first appearance.
Okay,
with the hair. Yep.
So when you like get your mushroom, like your extra life, if you will, not mushroom, but you're like one extra health, not one up, but you know what I mean. It's just another character following you around. In two player, is that you two walking around now, or how does that work?
This is.
I explained that terribly, but I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah, there are two ways you can play two player. There's competitive or cooperative. If it's competitive, I play a level. When I die or when I beat it, it switches to you. You get to play that level.
How is that competitive?
Whoever beats the game first, I guess.
Oh.
And then there's cooperative, which is what I've always done with my family and everything like that. And that one is first player is Diddy Kong, second player is Dixie Kong.
And if one of you dies, both of you die?
No, so then if I get hit by an enemy as Diddy Kong, then Tom takes over as Dixie, and he continues for the rest of the level.
And until he gets to one of those DK barrel. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, once he hits a DK barrel, then I'm just following behind until he gets hit or dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the level, it switches characters automatically for you too. So it's kind of fair. If he beats a level, then I'm the next one that starts a level.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's fair.
Yeah, but Diddy and Dixie play very differently. Like, Diddy's faster. Dixie can jump higher. Diddy can cartwheel jump, which gets him further. But Dixie can do the little helicopter spin.
The helicopter spin was handy.
Yes. Diddy Kong, his cartwheel jump. First of all, I love not only that this game is difficult, but I also love it is difficult. It's very challenging, and it makes me now really appreciate like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which I kind of fell off of on Switch. I can't wait to get back to it now, but what I loved about Tropical Freeze that I had forgotten about this game is that every single level has a gimmick, and you learn that gimmick, and you master it by the end of the level, and then you never see that gimmick again.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn from it, and it's a really cool thing, like the minecart level or the roller coaster level with the check boxes, or the plus boxes and the minus boxes, or the check boxes that open the doors and things like that. Or the wind. Oh my god, the wind levels. Anyway, so you learn these gimmicks, and every single one feels new and unique and fresh, and then you move on to something, so you never get tired of any one mechanic in this game.
Also, strong water levels, I thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when you get Engard, the fish.
They are. Is it the light fish that follows behind you?
That's Glimmer. Okay. Engard's the swordfish.
Oh, I know. Did I see the swordfish? No.
You've never played Engard? He's rideable, and
the rideable one, yeah.
Yeah, there will be a few levels later.
I was thinking of like another fish that follows you around, and I'm like, I can't think of that. Yeah, Engard. I'd had that all the time though, where I'd be doing a level, and they'd be like, "You can't bring an animal over here," and I'm like, "Oh, there was an animal. Oops, I must have missed that one."
Thing I love, number 2, well, number 100, the secrets. Like this game, unlike Super Mario World, which, you know, is famous for like secret exits and things like this, has so many secrets. And even Donkey Kong Country 1, there were parts where like invisible walls where you could go through and get an animal, or go through and get a coin or a challenge. But this has so many, like like you said, you get to the end of the level, it's like no squawks past this point. You're like, I could have had fucking squawks that whole time.
Yeah, like that would have been handy.
Yep. Or there are entire separate routes you could take in the level sometimes as well, which is crazy.
There are all sorts of collectibles too. Like I think it was the first level of Kremke. That's the third area. Kremke. I don't know. The third world.
The swamp one, right?
The swamp one. Yeah, it was the first area there, or second, or something like that. And there was an area where it was like there was a bee, and then a balloon, I think, and then another bee above that balloon, and then like a coin over that. And at a certain point, because I did that part many times because I kept dying over and over again, so it was like my 15th time there, and then I got up a little, just slightly higher than I had gotten before, and I noticed that there was another like DK coin that I've never seen before, and I'm like, how did I get to the third world of this game and realize there's a whole type of collectible I didn't even know about? Like that's how well these are hidden.
Yep, there's a DK coin in every single level.
And I didn't know about it until many levels into the game.
Yep. There are Creme coins, which are the ones you get after like little bonus barrels and after beating bosses. Mm-hmm. When those unlock, similar to like Star Road in Super Mario World, those unlock a level in a harder Lost World, like Lost Island. And we played one of those levels, and then we're like, by the end of the game, we were to the point where we were farming lives. Like, we would start a level, we would collect like 20 bananas, and then we would quit.
Were you playing this? Where were you playing this?
We were playing this on the Super Nintendo Classic.
Okay.
And for those of you who have it, it's not actually on there. My brother hacked my Super NES and put a bunch of other games on it too.
Thief. I played a ROM.
How did you play it? Yeah.
So I had what I was doing is I was using save states, right? And I would just refresh the save state. But I ran into this problem where I'd have 0 lives left, and I'd just be using the save state. And then I'd get to that midpoint in the level where if I died, I can come back again. But because I didn't have any lives left, I'd have to return back to the very beginning of the level.
Yeah.
Unless I farmed for lives.
You cheater. I mean, we technically could have used save states as well, but that's not the way the game was meant to be played.
But it's a benefit of playing these games in ROMs or on a SNES Classic.
Part of the strategy is like, all right, we just beat that world, but if we continue on to the next one, then we can't come back and save until we find a Funky's Flights or until we get far enough in that world to find the save point. It adds another level of stress and anxiety to it.
I can't imagine. I'm already stressed just playing one level at a time.
But it's so fun. It makes for like these times when we're stuck on a level, and this happens so many times where like, whether it's the wind level, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you get to it. The fucking wind level, where the wind is blowing and you have to jump with it or against it.
Oh, just like alternate back and forth.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or the fucking spider level. There are levels where you play as the spider squidder.
I played as a spider once.
Yeah, there are a few of them. But like, I would die, and then Tom would take over, and then make the same exact fucking mistake like 2 seconds later. And I'm like, God damn it, that's one life down. Okay, we have to make sure we go this route to get these bananas and get the coins so that we can save and go to Funky's, not Funky's Flights, but Swanky Kong, answer the questions about the game to get the extra lives. It just adds another element to the game, like this meta narrative to the game almost.
Is there even a story to the game?
Very, very loose. The story is K. Rool, who's in this game not King K. Rool, but he's Captain K. Rool.
Oh.
Because you'll see at the end, he's actually captain of an airship.
Don't spoil it. It's an important story.
He's wearing a pirate hat.
Oh, he ruined it for me.
He kidnapped Donkey Kong, and you're going to save him.
The twist is ruined.
And that's it. So yeah, very, very, very loose story.
That's appropriate, though.
I mean, it's the same as, like, Princess got stolen by Bowser, go save her.
Well, that's a pretty deep story. And then when you find out she's in another castle, like, oh my god, twist.
The story of the first one was King K. Rool stole Donkey Kong's banana hoard, all of his giant bananas, and we got to go get the bananas back.
Video game stories are so stupid. Well, that's all I gotta say about Donkey Kong's Quest.
Yeah,
it's a great game. I think this is one of the best games we played on B.A.R.F.
Yeah, if you haven't played a Donkey Kong Country game, they're all fantastic. Even Donkey Kong Country 3 with Dixie Kong and Baby Kong or Kiddy Kong is like still a fantastic platformer. But Diddy Kong's Quest 2, fucking, you know what I'm talking about, is one of the best platformers of all time. It's wonderful.
You're wonderful, Chad.
Oh, shut up. So yes, next week, actually probably tomorrow, I'm starting our next B.A.R.F. for October, and that one is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. There are a ton of ways you can play this game. If you have a PlayStation 1 and the disc, you can do that. If you have a Vita or a PS3, you can do the PlayStation 1 Classic. If you have an Xbox One or an Xbox 360, it's available on the store there and backwards compatibility. And then at the very end of the month, you can play it on PS4 as well. Or if you don't have any of those, you can probably find a way to play it on your computer.
Si, senor.
Si, senor. Yeah, I had a ton of fun with that.
And I'm excited to play Castlevania, by the way, because I've never played I've never played a game in that franchise ever. So
yeah, why are we playing this one? Well, neither of us have ever played really a Castlevania game before.
Oh, you haven't either? I thought you had.
No, I said earlier in the podcast, I played like 2 hours of the 3D one on PS3 that was shit.
Oh yeah, you said that, and I don't care about you. That's why I didn't remember.
There you go. North Carolina. Yeah, so we've never played it. It's also one of gaming's great franchises, apparently. So I feel like I should be informed about it. And also Simon Belmont and Smash Bros.
Yep. Just playing these because of Smash Bros. That's all it is at this point.
That's it. Everything in the world is just leading up to Smash Bros.
Literally, even our November game is going to be Smash Bros. Related in a way.
Yeah. And in fact, every tweet you send
Spoiler
me,
alert.
I'm just going to respond with Smash Bros. Images. So the next part, we usually would have a poll, but we're actually recording this on a Monday night instead of a Tuesday, so I didn't do a poll for this week. We would have subscriber interrogatives, but no one posed any. But we do have our Game On Game show, the gaming show, the playing the game, and the game on, and the game, goddamn. And this week, we are skipping a week on BuzzFeed Presents Which Bullshit NPC Are You, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire, for a returning segment called Video Game Would You Rather. So Holden, I've got 5 would you rather scenarios based around video games or video game lifestyles. And we're just going to talk about them and discuss our answers to each one. Are you ready?
Sure.
I came up with all of these, by the way, because, again, the internet fucking sucks at would you rather video game stuff. It's like, would you rather play Halo or Call of Duty? Fuck you. 1. Would you rather be a murderer like Nathan Drake or a murderer like Lara Croft?
Is there a difference?
There is a difference. Nathan Drake is a mass murderer, killing thousands of people. And he plays it off like nothing. He's just like, oh yeah, joking around, ha ha ha. Versus Lara Croft and the new ones, where she kills maybe 100 people, and every single one seems to take a toll on her and mess her up mentally.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the one who's not a sociopath, games. So I'm going to be Lara Croft.
But wouldn't you, like, if you had to be a murderer, I'd choose Nathan Drake.
I don't know. I think I'd like to feel something in my life at some point.
Dude pulls a ton of strange. Have you seen Chloe? And he has a happy life.
Fair point. But again, he doesn't have emotions, so that wouldn't matter to him.
He has emotions. Have you watched him play Crash Bandicoot next to his wife?
You know, sociopaths can fake emotions, right? He's just faking the whole time. It's very scary, the whole thing, once you know that.
I would definitely choose Nathan Drake because I enjoy my mental health.
So you enjoy your mental health, which is why you want to be a sociopath. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm not talking about my emotional health, but my mental health.
Okay, gotcha.
Next up, would you rather... This one's... Actually, the rest of these are kind of long, so get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather live a normal life with a Mega Man Buster for an arm, or live in Mega Man's world where every level is designed around you and your Buster skills, but you're just a regular dude with hands trying to survive?
Isn't that obvious? I want to be in the real world with Mega Man's Buster cannon.
Are you kidding me? How do you fucking make a cup of coffee or cook your own food when you have a cannon for a hand?
You point the cannon at someone and say, "Make my fucking coffee."
Every time you go to a sporting event or anything with a metal detector and you have a cannon on your arm, you're fucking going to jail, man. You're a terrorist.
I'll put like an orange cap over it.
You're gonna buzz through the metal detector. You can never fly on a plane.
No. That's not true at all. I would just be
like, school.
Be like, "Do you have any metal on your body?" Be like, "Yes, I do." My cannon. It's part of my body. They can't tell me. They can't refuse my right to be in a plane. Because I have a right, apparently. I don't, but...
I would go for the Mega Man Buster arm, too, just because it'd be cool as fuck.
Yeah, but you can't because I took it, so...
But this isn't the NPC game. We can both choose the same
Oh,
one.
okay. We can be the same? Oh.
Yeah, Mega Man Buster for an arm. You would be like... I mean, obviously you could be a cool superhero, but you're living in the normal world, so people are like, "Oh my god, that's so fucking cool! Shoot me with it!"
I just wonder, where would, let's think that it's a real person, though, right? Real person's Mega Man Buster arm. What kind of job do they have? Do they work a retail job and it's customer service? Sir,
no, you have to be a spectacle. You have to work at the circus or something.
You're in, the P.T. Barnum's, freak show.
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't he in The Greatest Showman? Mega Man Buster arm dude.
Oh yeah. He was just a regular old dude.
Yeah, he was
just a fat guy with an arm.
Yep, he's in The Greatest Showman. Great musical featuring Mega Man.
Question number 3. Would you rather have to play every single game using only Kinect gestures and voice controls?
No, whatever the next one is, I'll take it.
Or play every game using only a keyboard and no mouse?
Oh, fuck, never mind. I'll take the voice commands.
I would have to do keyboard.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess, because
there are, tricks and shortcuts you can set up on a keyboard, but you can't, if you're fucking waving in front of your face like an idiot and it doesn't register it.
That's true, yeah. And also you're just turn
around, swiping
turn around,
the air.
A little bit more, turn a little bit more, no, a little bit more. No, back, again. Aim
Throw a
higher.
Grenade.
Throw a grenade, no, higher. No, don't throw another grenade.
When Kinect,
damn it.
When they were trying to make it a
Guys,
thing.
better
It was
grenades
Gears
now.
of War. I think it was Gears of War. You could either press the button to throw a grenade, or you could say, "Throw a grenade," and it would throw the grenade.
Well, gee, which one's
that
faster?
Seems like so much more work.
Probably the button. The button's probably faster.
All right. I kind of like this one. This might be my favorite of the 4.
All right.
Would you rather every single breath you take has to be a Kirby-style inhale, and it runs the risk of accidentally ingesting and taking on the properties of whatever's in front of you? Or every breath you take has to be a Solid Snake-style inhale, which means every inhale is a drag on a cigarette.
No, I don't want to smoke cigarettes, and I'd also like to gain...
Oh, me neither. That's fucking gross.
I want to also gain... It's do you want to smoke cigarettes and get cancer, or do you want to inhale things and develop their superpower, or inherit their superpowers? That's such an obvious choice.
Okay, first of all, think about this. If you're holding your baby and you accidentally eat it, well, your baby's gone.
if it's my breathing, and I'm aware of it enough that I'll move my baby out of the way, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
You can never breathe in front of your baby again.
No, I'll just hold it in front of me,
or
hold
anything
my breath,
you love,
and then move it out of the way for a second. I guess life would be kind of hard, But then I could like
also good luck seeing a movie.
Wait a second. This is what you do, right? You just find a person, right, who has their power of normal breathing. You inhale them, and then you have normal breathing, and then you're just back at square one, and you're not smoking cigarettes all the time. So,
but you do have to murder someone.
Yeah, but I'll go like somewhere where it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Human life is human life, Holden.
What was that?
Oh my! Human life is human life. There is no human life that doesn't matter.
This is true. All lives matter, Chad.
But then also, like, you're in the middle of a movie theater, and you're just like...
and, like, the screen... and, like, the screen comes out. I suck that in. Everyone's mad at me. Like, hey, dude, don't use your phone and don't inhale the screen. We want to watch that.
But that's better than fucking smoking cigarettes. That shit's gross.
That is true. Man, cigarettes are bad for you. Don't smoke, kids.
Last, would you rather? Would you rather video game characters were hyper-realistic and that they needed to eat and poop multiple times a day and sleep for 6 to 8 hours during the game? Or would you rather video game transportation methods be only limited to what was available in the 1800s? No fast traveling, no teleportation, no driving. You get horses, bicycles, and carriages.
I think that's really hard because there's so many funny potentials on either side. On that end of the vehicles, you could be playing Halo, but you have to be in a horse-drawn carriage. It's just amazing sounding. Or you could be playing
Can you imagine
Halo.
Mass Effect?
You're just like riding a horse into a Mass Effect relay that like shoots the horse across the galaxy. But the other option is like it's Mass Effect, and you're about to determine whether or not you're going to destroy the genophage. And wait a second, Master Chief's got to take Chipper's got to take a shit, and now you have to take a shit, and then have to hit the X button in a QuickTime event to wipe your ass afterwards because it's hyper-realistic.
Or you get to these decisions, like these life-saving decisions in Mass Effect, or life-altering decisions, and you're like, God, I've been up for like 36 hours, and you can't see the decisions. They're all garbled, and they don't make sense anymore, and I got to go to bed. And
like the romantic relationships can lead to scenarios of, do you want to hang out with me tonight? Or the option is, I got work tomorrow. I'm just really tired. I don't know if I can make it.
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to pick 1800s transportation because I think that would just be way funnier to see in science fiction stuff, which is most games.
I think so, too.
Or it'd be really badass. It's like a zombie game, but you're in a horse-drawn carriage having to like run away from zombies and kill them and stuff.
What if the horses are zombies?
Oh my gosh. This is great.
And you got to get a bicycle-drawn carriage.
Or just a bicycle at that point.
No, you do not pedal. You are too good for that.
You just have zombies that are pedaling for you.
There you go.
Yep, and you just dangle like a brain in front of them, like a carrot.
Dangle a brain.
Yep.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Respawn Aim Fire. Again, participate with us on Twitter. Send us some stuff. We haven't had a subscriber interrogative for a while, so I'm going to assign that task to Jerson. You're in charge of giving us a subscriber interrogative.
How did you just come up with that? We're giving our audience homework. I love the Respawn Aim Fire podcast. I just love the homework they give me. It's wonderful.
It's so engaging. And then everyone we all made the mistake. The reason I had to marathon Diddy's Conquest was because I waited till the last day.
Yep.
To start Castlevania today.
Nope, I'm not starting it today. Sorry.
No, we're going to wait till the end of the month, and Red Dead's going to be here, and we're all going to cry.
Yep, and we're going to change the B.A.R.F to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Here's our usual sign-off. Scoutmaster?
We don't even have a usual sign-off. Tiger
we
Lilies.
Don't. We should have one. Oh, I guess Tiger Lily's the most you've ever done.
Yep. So I have to say Tiger Lilies.
Bye.
Again. Bye, Tiger Lilies.